All right, hi 7th grade. I am going to be teaching you today in this little video about how to do the gridding method and how to measure and grid your image and your photograph in order to be able to recreate your photo on your paper. So this is what it looks like when it's done. So you're gonna start off with an image that is half the size of your paper. So in this case, your image is going to be 4 by 5 inches and your paper is going to be 8 by 10 inches. So it's really important that these images are exactly half or double of one another, or else this gridding method does not work. So again, this is what these look like when they're done. So you're going to need a pencil and a ruler in order to be able to do this. But I promise it's really simple. If you know how to use a ruler, this will be easy as pie. So if you measure this, you can see that this image is 5 inches by 4 inches. And what we're going to do to make sure that these lines are straight, we are going to make little hash marks at every inch of the ruler. So if I'm looking at this, I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 marks on the bottom. And then on the side, I'm going to have 3 marks. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna have a little mark at each inch mark. I'm gonna do that for both sides. So the reason that I do this on both sides is because when I eventually connect them, they're for sure gonna be straight. So this just ensures that I have perfectly straight lines to make my grid, and I'm not gonna have any crooked, weird stuff going on. So this is really important. You wanna make sure that you line up both these tick marks. Now you can't see it as well on the bottom here, but you wanna make sure you line up both these tick marks. So if I have, the tick mark is right here on the bottom, and I wanna make sure that I have that lined up perfectly with this one up here. Because if I just go ahead and draw my line here, even though it matches up top, it doesn't match on the bottom, and I'm gonna have a crooked line. So you wanna make sure that you line up both of those lines first with your ruler, hold your ruler in place, and then draw your line, okay? So I'm gonna do that with all of these. Again, I'm lining up the top and the bottom. I'm drawing my line down. This is just gonna be your reference photo, so if you mess this up, you can erase it, redraw it, anything that you need to do. So now I did that on that side, and now I'm going to make the opposite line. So you need to make sure you have both horizontal and vertical lines for this in order for you to get your grid. So again, I'm just lining up the lines that are opposite one another perfectly, and then I am drawing my lines. So that is what that should look like when it's done. So there's your image. So if you look at these, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 20 blocks total. You're actually gonna do the same thing with your real paper, okay? So instead of drawing your lines at every inch like they were on this paper, they're going to be every 2 inches on this paper. So if I look at this, I'm going to make a little line or a little tick mark just like I did on my other paper every 2 inches. So 1 inch, 2 inch, I'm gonna make a little mark. 1 inch, 2 inch, little mark. 1 inch, 2 inch, little mark. 1, 2, mark. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing that I just did on my image on my paper. Whoops. I'm gonna make sure you guys can see everything that I'm doing. I really recommend, if you do not have your own ruler, to bring in your own ruler. Clear rulers are really, really great for this. However, I do not have an abundance of those. So if you have your own clear ruler, that might be something you want to consider bringing in for this assignment. Okay, so I have all of my lines drawn. And again, I'm gonna do the same thing. So we wanna make sure that we're lining up both the lines. So if I were to just draw my line right now, look how far off that is. I wanna make sure that it's lined up here, and then I draw my line, okay? So I'm going to do that for all of these little marks that I made. And again, you want to do this, now I'm drawing this pretty dark for you guys so you're able to see it, but you want to make sure that you do this pretty light because you might eventually want to go in and erase these lines once we're all done. So it's very important that you draw this pretty lightly, and then that way you're able to go in and erase it eventually. But if you don't want to erase it, that's fine too. Whoops. All right, so now I have my grid on this paper and my grid on this paper. So this is what you should kind of have when you're all done. If you want to, a lot of people will label these. So it'll be A, B, C, D, E, and this one would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to do that, you can also do that with your paper. That might be very helpful for you. I hope this helps. Stay tuned, and there will be more videos like this in the future. All right, thanks so much, 7th grade. Good luck.